I knew that this was going to happen. VNyan versus Warudo. What's the difference? Which program should I use? And we'll talk about that. I already predicted this was gonna happen ever since the first day I beta tested for both of these programs, because at the time I started beta testing for VNyan, I was already aware that Warudo was a thing. It was just that Warudo was like really much of a baby program, and then eventually after more beta testing with VNyan, I was invited to beta test for Warudo basically afterward. So, pretty much, I was aware this was gonna happen. So we'll talk about it. So basically, how I kind of predicted I knew about this is because there was a VC Phase versus VNyan debate that happened. I knew that was going to happen. But we're not going to talk about that. Now the point about this video is that I want to at least bring awareness that yes, there are going to be people who are going to talk about this, but I want to at least give you guys some information about both of these programs, because straight up right now, both of these programs can do literally the exact same thing. It's just a matter of you as a user and what do you personally prefer, what do you personally favor. It depends on you basically, pretty much. Because the thing is like, you know how like artists, 2D artists will have like different types of paint programs. You got Clip Studio, GIMP, Photoshop, Krita. You got a lot of these different programs, and each of these programs, they do the same thing, but it's just a matter of they have different settings, the way that their UI is set up. Like, it's like that sort of thing basically. VNyan and Warudo, they can do the same thing, just depends on you, what do you prefer more, and which is just better for you in all honesty. So we'll talk about that part of things. So basically, like, and I just want to make sure, by the way, you are free, of course, to comment down what you personally prefer. If you prefer Warudo over VNyan, you are free to explain why, or if you prefer VNyan over Warudo, or maybe you want to use both programs, you can explain down in the comments, but please keep it respectfully. Do not insult either of the programs. Do it in a way that is like constructive criticism instead of deconstructive criticism, So keep it respectfully, but otherwise though, both of these programs, they do the same thing, so here we go. Both of these programs, they are capable of any type of mocap solution. You may argue that Warudo has native webcam hand tracking support, but for VNyan, they actually do plan on having native webcam hand tracking. It's just a matter of Google taking way too long to release the holistic model, which is, the tracking model for the hand tracking, to make it easier to integrate to VNyan. So because the holistic model is taking way too long, that's the reason why VNyan does not have native webcam hand tracking support. But even then, even though it doesn't have it natively, you can still do it. XR Animator is a thing where you can have the hand tracking and even full body webcam hand tracking in both VNyan and Warudo. Same thing with 3D Pose Tracker, webcam motion capture. You could put their mocap into these programs and get the same quality of tracking. As for even full body tracking like mocap suit or VR tracking, the quality will still remain the same. It's just a matter of how you set up your hardware, how you set up the program that operates those things, how do you set them up is what matters in terms of quality basically. With iPhone and webcam face tracking, both of these programs both have media pipe face tracking and ARKit, and depending on how you set it up, they can act the same way. But again, it depends, So depending on how you set up, they can either be the same or it could be close enough. Again, they are different programs. The way they set up their IKs are slightly different, but they can still do pretty much the same thing. Animations and poses, they can do the same thing as well. VNyan has native animation and pose support as well as Warudo. Of course, with Warudo, you can argue that yes, Warudo has 500 plus animations built into the program, but with VNyan, they don't have it natively, like pre-existing animation. Well, they kind of do, but it's not a lot like Warudo. But the thing with VNyan is that you can utilize their SDK. Heck, if you really want to, you can actually just take every single Warudo animation and pose in their program and convert to VNyan and still get the same quality of animations basically. You can, I'm not even kidding, you can literally do that. So technically they can, again, do the same thing. Now, of course, yes, there are some differences in terms of like how they blend their animations. Warudo has a little bit more extra settings regarding the animation blending. VNyan, they also have animation blending as well. It's slightly different, but they can still do animation blending basically. So, yeah. Again, they approach it differently. Now, both of these programs have blueprints and nodes, so if you really want to take full advantage of the program, the thing about both of these programs is that they have blueprints and nodes. or they mean the same thing. Both of them, they can do interaction, they can do redeems, Twitch, and YouTube redeems too. You may think that VNyan does not have YouTube redeem, but it actually has an ability to do that with StreamerBot. That's how you can do it. For both of these programs also, if you're going to use it for Kick, yes, eventually they're going to have native support, but again, you know, Kick is being a little Kick. So, again, I'm not going to elaborate what's happening on that, but even then, eventually they'll have native Kick support though. But pretty much you can use StreamerBot or a different like service to get the program working on a different streaming service. Basically, StreamerBot, again, it's really powerful. I highly recommend have it with your streams. It's really awesome. It could be a little intense to use, but again, you can really utilize it and it does wonders. But again, depending on how you approach it, maybe you prefer Warudo's setup of it, or maybe you may prefer StreamerBot or something. Depending, they both can do YouTube, they both can do Twitch, and technically they can both do Kick. Even if they don't natively support Kick, they can still do it with StreamerBot. So, again, depending on how you set it up. So, there's that. The interaction redeems, they can literally be the same thing. Like, they both have water, they both can toss objects at you. For the sticker thing, you can literally just use the VNyan SDK, create a particle effect, and make that into like a sort of sticker effect, because that's literally what Warudo is using, particle effects. So, there's that. Both of these programs also support their own sort of asset bundle model. So you know how there's VSF avatar, Warudo has the Warudo avatar format basically. Both of them, you can have custom shaders, custom animations, custom poses, custom props, custom environments, all with their SDK. So they both have that, they both can do the same thing, it's just a matter of how you set it up. Again, the translation on both programs, they are different, but depending on your setup and what you prefer, you can do that basically. Now, besides that though, of course, both of these programs do have their own official Discord servers, so if you need to ask for features or ask for help or anything like that, they do have their own Discord servers, and they also make tutorials for both of these programs, so yeah. But even then, that's just a little tiny thing I also want to at least say, that if you need help on doing certain stuff, come to the Discord server. They both got it, they both can help you out. Now, besides that though, you can also say about lighting support. Warudo has different lighting natively in there, but again, VNyan SDK can also do the lighting too. Again, VNyan SDK is really powerful if you utilize it. Same with Warudo SDK. You gotta utilize the SDK if you want to get even farther into the program basically. So, yeah. And besides that, oh boy, and yeah, besides that, they have like the screen sort of effect thing where you can have like browser source or images and such. Again, with VNyan's SDK, you can do the same thing. Again, a lot of this is just SDK this, SDK that. Do you know the blueprints? Can you translate it? Are you a coder or are you not a coder? Depending. Also, it's also even your Vtuber goals too. What do you want in your Vtuber setup? Do you want eye jiggle? Because both of these programs can do eye jiggle. Both of these programs can do the Live2D arm sway sort of effect. You can toggle different mocap solutions with both of these programs. Not to mention also, both of these programs, they do have profile saving support. Like if you have different settings you want to save or different scenes, they both can do that. They just do it in their own way. Virtual cam, you can use spout cam with VNyan as well, like because with VNyan there's no virtual cam, but you can use spout cam to actually make that into your virtual camera, and they both have background support. You can have your backgrounds, environments, all that. You see where I'm getting at basically? That these programs can do the same thing. It depends on you. What do you prefer more? Do you prefer Warudo's 500 plus animations? Do you prefer the fact that there's native webcam support in Warudo? Do you prefer the fact that Warudo gives you a VTube Studio vibe on the UIs and VNyan with their nostalgic VC face sort of style? What do you prefer, basically? Do you prefer the SDK with Warudo? Do you prefer the SDK with VNyan? Is VNyan easier to understand than Warudo, or vice versa? It depends on you, basically. And not to mention, too, both of these programs are incomplete, by the way. It may seem like they're complete, but they're not. Like I said before, VNyan plans on having webcam support. They plan on upgrading their Unity version. They plan on having custom scripting support. They plan on having extra nodes in the feature. They plan on having a lot of extra stuff. And for Warudo, they're planning on having different, probably they may have different mocap solutions, or maybe new nodes popping up, or maybe an update to the SDK to make things easier for people, or different stuff, or different tiny features, basically. Or maybe even leap motion support, you never know. Either way, they all do the same thing, It depends on how you set it up. But also, if there is something you want in the program that's not there, ask the devs. They have Discord servers. They are willing to take in feedback. They want to hear your feedback. If you don't give them the feedback, how are they going to improve their program? And also, when you are going to mention some features, if you're going to say like, "Oh, VNyan, could you add a feature that Warudo has?" Could you at least be a little careful when you start comparing programs. Like, if you're gonna ask for a feature and you're gonna say, well, Warudo has this, but VNyan does not. Like, be a little careful. Do it very respectfully if you can. Don't make it come off like, oh, well, Warudo's better than VNyan, or VNyan's better than Warudo. Again, both of these programs could do the same thing. It depends on you. If there is a feature that is missing, talk to the devs about it. And if there is like a certain feature that you want in VNyan or Warudo, but the other program has it, try to again, do it very respectfully. Like, you can explain it as in reference though, but do not be like, well, this program's better than this. Don't do that. Do it respectfully. Do it in a constructive criticism way. And pretty much. But again though, either way, the point of this video is that both of these programs do the same thing. It's a matter of what you do, and I know I'm repeating that so much, I apologize, but I just wanted to make sure it's engraved that these programs are both amazing in their own way. It's all about you. You gotta know, you gotta understand how the program works, and what do you prefer and such, But even then, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you have a preference for one program or the other? Were you unaware that VNyan had these settings and such? Because again, there's a lot more settings. I can literally point down and be like, well, this program has this, you could do this. Literally, if by any chance you have a question about how to use these programs, I'll try my best to answer it. Again, I'm still learning these programs. There's still a lot more things I don't know. But again, the developers are still available. There's a community being built that can definitely help you out on learning the program and such. Because I remember when I started VNyan, I didn't know how to use the program. I was about to give up on using VNyan, but the community has helped me learn the program, basically. So the community has done really amazing stuff, basically. So all I can say is, take your time with these programs. They, at first, it can be easy, but as you want more stuff, it can get more complicated. But eventually, you'll become Vtuber program masters, basically. But either way, let me know what you guys think. Don't be rude in the comments. And yeah, I hope that this helps you out on at least understanding or at least highlighting about the whole debate thing. And in all, my verdict is both programs, they do the same thing. But if you're wondering what my personal take is with the programs, honestly, I would say, right now, I primarily use VNyan right now, because I have been grown up with VNyan, basically. For Warudo, I am still learning the program, but there are going to be some cases I may use Warudo, there may be some cases I may use VNyan, but honestly, I probably would just say I would use both of the programs, because you could put, Warudo mocap into VNyan and such, and just use the power of both, basically. But either way, hope you guys have a lovely day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye! And before you go, a little extra thing I'm going to say as well. Advertisement sells. The better your advertising, the more people you're going to attract. So just want to leave that out there, basically. But even then, that's all I have to say.